Hello viewers and welcome back to an all-new episode of MLB 13 Road to the Show with our closing pitcher Gus Farmer. So this episode is going to be pretty interesting because we're going to get opportunities to pitch in the major leagues, not necessarily in spring training, but against real major league players. So hopefully Gus can live up to it. Here are our advancement goals, and I will show you my method of distributing the many points that I have. Basically, I put the points into the advancement goal stats first, which was stamina and clutch. And then I put some points into control. We need to make sure that we get our pitches controls up. That's always very important. And then also, you will see in a couple of seconds that I put a significant amount of points into the cutter and sweeping curves break. Now the reason I did this is because a couple days ago I recorded an episode and I changed the difficulty to veterans from the beginner difficulty, or actually I think we were on rookie at this point. But so in this episode the difficulty is changed to veterans pitching difficulty, but when I just put points into control and velocity like I've talked about in the past, Gus, he was getting annihilated. It was really very bad. He kept on getting removed from games, and there were outings when he was only getting 3 training points. So you will also see that by the end of this, I leave a little bit more than the 200 training points that I usually leave. And that is because I just want to make sure that I have enough training points at the end of this advancement goal period. If Gus is having too much of a problem, I might have to make the difficulty go back down to rookie just so that we can get the training points that we need, because we don't want to get stuck in a situation where we're not getting outings because we're pitching bad, and then we're not getting training points because we're not getting outings. So first outing is against the Phillies. Now you will notice, viewers, that we're not going to get as many swings and misses, and we're also going to be throwing a lot more balls just because you really need to stick to the outside corners, and sometimes we're going to throw a ball because of it, because before, on our old difficulty, they would still usually swing and miss at balls, and now they're not going to be swinging at them. So Gus is going to be throwing more pitches. It's going to be much more difficult, and we're going to have a hard time getting the strikeouts that we were racking up before. So here, can't get there fast enough. Shortstop makes a good play and doesn't even bother throwing, just because probably wouldn't have gotten the out anyway. Now here, third baseman couldn't get to it, a little too far out of reach, but left fielder has a strong arm and we get the out at third. Unfortunately, we let one of the runners score. It was an inherited runner, so it doesn't affect our ERA, but we give up a run, which isn't necessarily all that good. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really quite impressive. It was Gus's first outing as a major leaguer. I'm sure he had quite a bit of butterflies. He only gave up 1 hit. Didn't give up any runs except for the one inherited runner, and he managed to get the hold. So Mets wound up winning the game, and he should be quite proud of himself. Again, we have another outing against the Phillies, only this time they're up by 2 runs. So our job right now is just to try not to give up any runs and hope that the Mets can get back into it. It's only the 6th inning, so the Mets definitely have the opportunity to be able to get those 2 runs and hopefully 3. If Gus manages to keep the game close, maybe the Mets will score 3 runs at the top of the 7th and Gus will get his first win. Probably not to be expected, though, just because it is pretty difficult to get a win when you're only going to be pitching 1 inning, which seems to be the case with Gus. And the Mets only wind up scoring 1 run. Somebody gives up 2. So Mets are unable to win. But Gus, he did his job. He got his first major league strikeout, which is pretty good considering our difficulty is higher. Get a sim game training session. Nothing too interesting. We actually don't wind up passing that training session. We were unable to get 7 well at bats. But it's okay because we got some much needed training points. Now we have a game against the Detroit Tigers. Should be interesting just because the game is tied, so Gus needs to make sure he does not give up any runs because it could mean a loss for him. This is a long fly ball. Thankfully, center fielder is able to get to it. That looked a little scary coming off the bat. And as you will notice, viewers, a lot of this stuff is getting hit pretty hard. So the outs are hard outs, which is not necessarily all that good. Now this, a long fly ball. Stays in the park though, which is good. Not necessarily good that we wind up giving up a double, but it's good that we didn't give up the home run. So as you can tell, the difficulty change is definitely affecting Gus. He's still managing to get the outs that he needs, but it's becoming a little bit more difficult for him. We're not getting the strikeouts, so we're not getting the training points. But we definitely need to be more careful with how we distribute our training points just so that we can make sure that these fly balls start turning into weak ones. But Gus, he ends up getting the win. So even though he gave up the double and even though almost all of his outs so far have been pretty hard outs, Gus, he gets a major league win. And we get some additional training points just because it's his first major league win. Definitely some much needed training points because Gus is not getting those extra training points from the strikeouts. So next episode we will continue to pitch. Hopefully continue to do a good job. Hopefully don't give up any earned runs because we didn't give up any earned runs in AA. And it would be nice to continue that streak. So thank you for watching and have a good day.